Ugh. Man, I wanted to do film and shows someday, but hearing this, I'm going to sit here and do my little streams and my little raps and hang out with my family.
The goalpost will continue to move.
Yep.
So if you know that, and this is my biggest plight in life, is like, you know, you can't have your entire self-worth and satisfaction be
Ruslan.
Lil Dicky went on $1 million worth of game, and he said something so profound with regards to his pursuit of art and building an empire and all the different stuff he's doing. But then in the same exact interview, acknowledged that it wasn't sustainable or optimal. Okay. If you guys don't know who Lil Dicky is, he is a rapper, internet rapper initially, that saved up his bar mitzvah money, bought some equipment, spent a couple grand on a bunch of content throughout 5 months, dropped it at the end of it, did a Kickstarter, raised over 100 grand, and launched his career, had a couple Billboard hits, and now he has his own show on FX called Dave. Okay. Jewish rapper, comedy rapper, super funny, but very, very talented. And I don't want to take that away from him. But in this, he's talking about this desire to make great music at the level of, you know, the tops, the greatest artists, while at the same time doing the show, and he's becoming a filmmaker and he wants to make movies and all this stuff. But at the end of it all, it starts feeling like Ecclesiastes. Now I'm pretty sure Lil Dicky's I don't think he's a person of faith. He's Jewish, but I don't think he's a practicing Jew, right? And so I wanted you guys to check this out. So again, this is the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast. I'm gonna play you guys 2 clips from this just to kind of set it up, and then his reflection on this.
Was it a crazy journey?
it's you know, I would say, whereas rapping, it took me like working so hard, the 10,000 hour rule, to even get to a place where I can listen to my rap and be like, I respected my thing. Mm-hmm. I think I just like rolled out of bed able to do this more. You know what I mean? Like,
so you're talking about his show, Dave, that he's writing on and doing all kinds of stuff on it.
Where I'm certainly like, I do things now, season 3, that are astronomically better than like when I did season 1. Like season 1, I'm like looking around and being like, what is going on here? What does this department do? What is, how, like, you know, what does he mean when it's like a 2-shot and it's like a rake 2-shot as opposed to a frontal 2-shot? Right. It's like learning all the lingo and like understanding filmmaking. You know, like it's weird. I always envisioned myself a comedian my whole life, but now more than ever, I actually think if I had one word to describe myself, it's filmmaker. And like I take more pride in anything in the way that my show's directed, the way that it's shot, the way that it's written. And like, of course, being funny is why I have to remind myself, like, don't forget, like, you came into this trying to be like the guy that's making everyone laugh. And I, of course, love to do that, but I have even more pride in like a robbery scene that like looks like a movie. You know what I mean? That's shot a certain way. And so, but season 1, it was like, yes, it was like, it's so hard. Making it, I don't know that people know how hard it is to make a TV and how much goes into it.
How long did it take for the first season?
4 months to write, 3 months to shoot, 4 months to edit. It's like that type of thing.
Damn.
That's a lot of time, by the way, to work on anything.
It's like a year, man.
4 months to write, 3 months to shoot. What is it? 3 months to edit?
Yeah,
that's a long time. That's 10 months.
Yeah, so it's like every time I go in, I can't even go out of that world until like 10 months later. And it's like, it's truly 6-7 days a week, 15 hours a day.
Ugh. Man, I wanted to do film and shows someday, but hearing this, I'm going to sit here and do my little streams and my little raps and hang out with my family. But listen to the rest of this.
And
that's crazy.
There's so many decisions to be made, and I just care about. It's not that I'm a control freak. It's just I have an opinion. No one can read my mind, and I'd rather my opinion be the thing that goes out than like delegating something to someone else who might have a different opinion than me. I care too much about. I care about the curtain on the window and like the color it is compared to like the shirt that I'm wearing. I care about the lens.
By the way, did you guys know that all that stuff is intentional in shows?
Yep.
All of the details matter in a show. There's people that just do that.
We use. I care about the way it's lit, the way it's all of it. So
one thing I learned about being on set is
so let me fast forward this part. So then they go into work-life balance, right, and then this pursuit of greatness.
This is what I'm looking at. Like the movie, you just said I'm working the right one.
Yeah.
It seemed like you real locked in because you got to put all this time in because it seemed like to create Dave, that's longer than doing a movie. So you doing that, and then you still writing. That's why I was like, you say you get 8 hours, but it's like, damn.
Well, I wish I had more of a social life.
You just be right because it seemed like you're right in.
I wish I could spend more time with my girlfriend and like travel. Like I wish, I don't have any kids. I would love to like before I have children be able to like travel the world for like 6 months. You know.
He sounds like every college kid. Like, I'm going to go backpacking through Europe before I settle down, right? You know, think about this, though. Like, Lil Dicky's not hurting. Like, Lil Dicky's not hurting, okay? Like, he's successful financially, his whole bit. And he's saying, before I even have kids, I want to first go travel the world for 6 months. Yeah. That's how much he's working.
Just can't find that window because it's like I don't feel comfortable taking months off when I have all of these diehard fans that are the reason I even have a career in the first place that don't have a second album.
Right.
I just feel an immense level of pressure to create. I really do.
Work-life balance, man.
and
How does your girlfriend feel that you don't have any time for it?
well, living together helps, and working from home I think is like because she's working from home, I'm editing the whole show from home, so it's like we're crossing paths all the time.
So again, I'm only playing you this outside of them living together, which I think is a terrible decision for people. He's working from home, doing the editing himself. He's editing his own show. This is, and again, you meet these guys in music. Nick D reminds me of a guy like this. My man Belief reminds me of a guy like this. Andy Mineo is like this. They're maniacal. They're detail oriented. Everything matters. It becomes very obsessive, right? And so the fact that he's going this hard is really interesting.
If my YouTube channel takes off, the first thing I get rid of is editing.
The editing, just hire an editor, right? Yeah.
And it's more about like when I am with her and we're spending time, it's like don't think about the other really be with her. And I think she's just really good at supporting me right now, knowing that that's what I need in this phase of life. And eventually the tables could turn. I could take a year off because I feel like, you know what, I had my album's out, my show's done. I put out my first movie. Maybe I won't work for a year and I'll just be like the best boyfriend in the world by then husband.
No, but listen.
First of all, I just want to tell you, your lovely girlfriend, that's never happened.
He knows them. Like, hey.
Now watch this. Now listen to this.
man, because you like in your mind, people might look at you, people might give you your props, they might clap, they might cheer the ratings, but you like, oh no, I'm just warming up. I'm trying to get here. Right here, y'all excited, but no, I got to get here, and that's how I be in my mind. Like I'm still warming up. This practice,
But it will never end.
never.
But it will never end. Listen to this.
Feeling,
The goalpost will continue to move.
Yep.
keep moving.
So if you know that, and this is my biggest plight in life is like, you know, you can't have your entire self-worth and satisfaction be granted by the validation of others.
I'm gonna rewind this one more time. Listen to this.
You can't have your entire self-worth and satisfaction be granted by the validation of others.
Come on, little Dicky.
Preach it.
That is such a moment of clarity. Hey, you want to see something crazy? 67% of the people who watch this channel are not subscribed. Do me a quick favor, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you stay up to date on all the videos here on the Blessed God Studios channel. But listen to what he says right after that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it totally is for me. You know what I mean? Like everything I do in life is to be the best artist I can be, make the best show anyone's ever seen. And it's just like, I know that if I live my whole life that way, I will have deep regret when I'm like 70. So it's like,
Yep.
I know if I live my whole life that way, I will have deep regret when I'm 70.
but I also know if I don't, I mean, in addition, it also gives you the financial freedom to be able to enjoy life. And so my plan has always been like,
But what financial freedom if you're obsessed in creating something 15 hours a day, 6-7 days a week for 10 months out of the year? What financial freedom is there? Like, it doesn't seem like there's much financial freedom in that.
super hard
Financial
for
freedom
us
is supposed to give you,
Freedom.
ideally, freedom for you to do a bunch of other stuff, like hang out with your kids.
Right.
for your life, be able to enjoy and reflect on it in
Right.
the second half.
That's why Tom Brady keep coming back.
Yeah.
He's like, all I did was play football my whole life. If I retire, what the am I going to do? Like,
But I
sit
love,
at
like, I
home?
love relax. Like, I'm not like a workaholic. Like, nothing makes me happier than like sitting on a couch and watching a movie.
Yeah.
That's like, you could say, let's do anything today, I would do that. So it's like, it's not that I love having to work hard all the time. I wish the tasks took less time so I could do more chilling.
Yeah, but it takes a lot of time to be great.
It seemed like with this coming
That's
out.
true.
So I wanted to show you guys that because here's someone that's operating, 5.3 million views an episode for a TV show. Because we know TV is dying. And the fact that he's still pulling those kind of numbers, this dude is at an elite level for content, an elite level for art, and an elite level for all of this stuff that he's doing. Yet he has the self-awareness to know that they're really just golden handcuffs, right? That are keeping them shackled to all of this. There's the maniacal tension that he's living in. And so it begs the question, like, is enough ever enough? How do you pursue this without losing the things that actually end up mattering in life, which is like family, if you don't have family, friends, loved ones, so on and so forth, right? And it reminds me a lot of Ecclesiastes. Like, and he's self-aware enough to know, like, at 70, if I keep going at this pace, I'm going to regret it when I'm older.
Yeah. So funny because I'm teaching through the book of Ecclesiastes for my Patreon community. We're doing weekly Bible studies every Monday. And we just read chapter 2, verses 1 to 11, where the author says, Cole Leth, right, the teacher, he says, I gave to wine, essentially. And then after that, he says, I built parks, I built houses, I built palaces So he names like all these building structures, but he qualifies it with for myself. And then he says, and I realized it is nothing but chasing after the wind. And in our Bible study, we were talking about how, like, if you make yourself the focal point of whatever it is that you're doing,
Yep.
it's going to feel like you're chasing after the wind.
Yeah.
And God didn't create work to be self-centered. When you think about work, it should be a ministry.
Yeah.
And so whatever it is that you're doing, I mean, content creation is technically for other people.
Yep.
We do this for other people.
Right, right.
Now we have all our niches. Or if you make shoes, you're doing it to serve humanity.
Right,
Protect our feet.
Right.
Or if you're a mechanic or whatever, right?
Yep.
And then I noticed something as I was studying through that text is that Solomon, even though he built all these building projects, his greatest achievement for building something was the temple. But in that list, the temple is never mentioned.
Interesting. Wow.
And it stood out to me like a sore thumb. And I was like, wait, hang on here.
Yep.
Parks, palaces, buildings, all this. And you don't mention the greatest achievement?
Yep.
And the only thing I could reflect on that, and this is my kind of running commentary on it, is it's because the temple wasn't for him. It's for the resident of the temple God, right?
Right,
Like you
right.
can say that. Or even if you want to say, well, his father David, like it's for him.
Yep.
But everything else he says he built for himself, and all the stuff he went after was chasing after the wind.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna make a movie or show or YouTube channel, whatever it is, I say make the end result of it be for people.
Yeah. That's good.
It will give you satisfaction.
Yep.
It will give you fulfillment.
Yep. Yep.
And you're not gonna feel like I'm gonna do a bunch of stuff, and then when I'm 70, look back on it and say, vanity of vanities, all things are vanity.
Right. Well, it makes me think about what Jesus said when the disciples were arguing amongst themselves about who was the greatest, right? And so they're having this argument, and Jesus, interestingly enough, doesn't rebuke their desire for greatness, because they're talking about like, yo, we want to be great here. Like when you establish your kingdom here, we want to sit at your right.
Yeah.
And there's and I always am very interested when scripture repeats itself. I don't mean like this gospel shares this story and then this gospel shares a story. I mean like the same gospel shares a story, and that story is repeated in Luke. It might be repeated in other gospels. So I always find that very interesting. And so when Jesus is dealing with them, he never rebukes their desire for greatness. He redirects it to be childlike and to serve like a child, and to serve and be the first shall be last and last shall be first, and the least among you will be the greatest. They rule over you like the pagans do, but not like you.
Correct.
Let the
or are
person
you
that
willing
leads
to
you.
go through, like, are you willing to suffer for that?
Yeah. Yeah, and let the one who's the greatest among you be the servant. Look, I'm here as the greatest among you, but I'm serving you and I'm washing your feet. And so I love what you said, that if you're gonna build something, build it for other people. Do it in to honor God, right? Colossians 3:23. Whatever you do, do it. Not as for earthly masters, but as for God, not man. And so I think in that, I believe that therein lies the antidote to not be self-absorbed. That you can go and do a great YouTube channel, a great music career, great art, film, all that, which all that stuff sounds awesome, but not at the expense of my family.
Correct.
Not at the expense of my mental health, not at the expense of my physical health. And where I'm at, and we talked a little bit about this offline, and reading Atomic Habits and Habit Formations, is I'm at a place where how can I build systems, and how can I create an environment that propels me to work in an efficient manner, so that I don't have to be a slave to the algorithm, a slave to the audience, a slave to output and meticulous obsession, but I can create stuff at scale. And I feel like the more systems that can be built in whatever it is our endeavors are, if you're working a job, if you're preaching a sermon, if you're doing YouTube videos, if you're making music, if you're building an app, if you're building product, if you're on a sales team, the more systems we can create, the less thinking and heavy lifting we can do every time we do a task.
Or you get like more focus, right? So my heart is apologetics, and I mean that in the holistic sense of like Christian worldview formation. Now I do some of that in churches. I do it in public speaking and all that. But a good amount of it I do it on like YouTube. The reason why I have to focus on the editing, all the technical aspect, like learning how to do YouTube, which is an endeavor in itself, is because I have to.
Right.
Because I don't have the resources.
Right.
So I got to do it myself. But if somebody came to me, let's just say, and said, "Hey, Art, like I'll take care of this aspect of it,"
Right.
I'll be like, "Cool, that helps me focus my attention on wherever my heart really is."
Yes.
Right. And but you always have to realize that the people God has put closest to you, and if you're responsible over them, like your children, are more important than anything else. You can't gain the whole world,
Right.
but lose your soul.
Yep.
Now, I'm using it in a different context because I think a good amount, like your family. If my wife stops me and says, "Hey, I haven't seen your face in 2 days because you've been in the studio editing,"
Yep.
you need to learn to stop.
Yes.
Right? Like, good for you. Wake up 6 a.m. and work till 7.
Yep.
But stop at 7 and then spend some time with your family.
That's good.
Then I'm gonna take a couple of steps back and say, you know what, you're right. I should do that.
Yeah.
I don't have a healthy balance here
Yeah. That's good.
because I don't want to lose my wife. I don't want to lose my kids.
Amen. Amen. Hey, this clip is from our daily after party stream. If you enjoyed it, consider signing up for our Patreon community for only $5 a month, where you get access to the replays of our daily after party streams, as well as the uncut extended versions of our podcast, Discord access that's private, and a discount code for our merch store, only $5 a month. And ultimately, it's the best way to help us contextualize the gospel of Jesus using media, podcasting, and of course, YouTube. The link for that is in the description or in the pinned comment. The perks are amazing. You should get on there. It's only $5 a month. I'll see you over there, all right? Peace.